verse and the fucking monster verse and the...
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna put the change batteries somewhere.
Damn. Boxed into a corner or something.
Not tired at all.
Exhausted. About to boil over with exhaustion. So, good to see you, buddy.
Nice to see you as well.
Yeah. So right off the hop, I want to say already, this thing has inspired Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, coming soonish.
Yeah. Where the devil is dead and gets put back together.
With other pieces of...
Oh,
It
shit.
should be like
No,
terrible people, like he's got Hitler's arm.
Now we're thinking.
Now we're all spoiling our own ideas before we do them.
But how do we start with this? We go right back to old Mary Shelley.
Satanstein? No, Frankenstein's better.
Yeah, it's the best.
Satanstein.
Yeah.
He's Jewish too. Shit. Oh, shit. Redacted.
Redacted. So, taking you back to the late 1700s.
I was hoping so.
Mary Shelley, right? You knew that she wrote this at a very young age,
Yeah,
Frankenstein?
16.
16?
Already married.
Really?
Yeah. You telling me or I'm telling you? Yeah, she ran away. She ran away and eloped, and then wrote Frankenstein with her lover, whose last name was Shelley.
But wasn't there a contest of some sort between like her and a relative to write something when she moved to a new place? Something like that?
I'm not sure.
No. Well, either way.
I gotta watch the movie.
Either way, the modern Prometheus is the subtitle for this.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, Greek mythology.
Yeah. My fave.
Yeah. Did you think much about Prometheus in terms of Greek mythology?
No.
I mean...
He actually was never on my radar because I usually just based it more around the 12 Olympians.
Yeah. But created fire.
Yeah.
And then I think got tied to a rock. But on this week's episode, talking about the 1994 version of Frankenstein,
Yeah.
which is, of course, got a lot to live up to with the iconography of the 1931 one.
Yeah.
Where he's wearing those ex-soldier hobo clothes,
Yeah.
as they call them in this book down here that you might be able to see. I don't think there's any kind of Igor figure in here, unless you count Henry. And he's lost his neck terminals.
Yeah. In the new one.
In the new-ish.
In 31, you're talking about?
Yeah.
He loses them?
Yeah. In 1994, he doesn't have them.
Oh, okay, yes. That's what I thought you were saying.
Just think, as a kid, maybe, in 1994, you're waiting for the movies to come out every week.
Yeah.
And if you were, what would you be... If you were a kid back in 1994, around, what would be some of the movie rentals this one would be up with?
Forrest Gump would have been one of the biggest names out of 1994.
Yeah.
Was successful at the Academy Awards. I'm wearing my Bubba Shrimp hat.
Yeah.
Some other names, Natural Born Killers.
Mm-hmm.
The Mask, which I saw in theaters, I remember.
Yeah.
At Crystal Palace, a magical place. But Leon the Professional.
All right.
Shawshank Redemption. Pulp Fiction. The Page
Hold
Master.
on. Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
The Frank Darabont wrote the script for this one, or a version of it.
Do you remember Page Master?
Page Master is one I'm obsessed with watching again. I actually played the Super Nintendo game around when it came out as well. So it was a real 1-2 punch as far as, Page Master things.
Yeah.
And, played the game over a weekend. There was actually this part where you'd think that you were getting further and you'd end up back at the beginning of the game, which would boggle my mind and really made me nuts over that weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of redemption that I need, speaking of Shawshank.
Especially for movies I would have been watching around that time. Richie Rich came out.
Oh, yeah.
And like
there was something about Richie Rich, man.
Macaulay Culkin doing, the amount of movies in a year that Ty West was last year. Ace Ventura,
Hold
Pet
on,
Detective.
Richie Rich made people think that rich people could have McDonald's in their house.
Speed. Little Rascals.
Yeah.
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I just don't want that as audio to be out there. Delete that.
But speaking of vampires.
Yeah. Frankenstein.
We're talking about, the original cinema universe. Where they have so many now. The multiverse. The monsterverse. The MCU, the DC verse, or whatever the hell they call it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about them later.
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe we already talked about them. I mean.
Well.
But, yeah, there's...
I could have gotten into how I borrowed them as a kid from the library, or, the whole golden age.
Yeah. But
we're living in the present, 1994.
But this was like the original, the dark universe goes back to almost the start of film with the Frankensteins and the Dracula and Wolfman and the Mummy.
Yeah.
Like these are this is the Mount Rushmore of movie monsters.
Yeah. Baked in to every
And in the 90s there was quite a few remakes, and I think that Mary Shelley's Frankenstein stands up a lot more than Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman. I love Gary Oldman, and Keanu Reeves is a great actor as well. But
and just that was almost like a reboot
Winona
of the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Coppola, I think, was a producer on both of them. I don't know if he's trying to fire that whole thing up.
But would this have been around the same time that Jack Nicholson did Wolfman?
You'd have to consult to your list.
And then, of course, later on they did end up having The Mummy, which was pretty big at the time, but I don't know if that even is considered the same Mummy.
Like the Brendan Fraser one?
The Brendan Fraser's, yeah.
That was a bit later.
Yeah. What do you think about Brendan Fraser? Yeah, 94, Wolf.
Oh.
Look at this.
But they probably went out of their way to say that's not part of it.
92, Dracula. So they championed this reboot with Dracula, and then they put out Wolf and Frankenstein in the same year.
No wonder I was so excited for this to come out.
What do you think about Brendan Fraser?
I thought he's like so Airheads.
Yeah.
Love
awesome.
Airheads.
Love it. Yeah.
Love Encino Man.
Yeah.
Encino Man is oddly enough one of the movies I remember seeing in school, the earliest as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think I ever had to rent it. I think I went over to some friends and it was on. They had it rented out, and then we saw it at school.
Yeah.
So he's been in my brain a long time.
I really love Blast from the Past.
Oh
You
yeah.
ever catch that one?
You know what? I actually
cool.
got sneak peek theater tickets to see that.
Yeah.
Well, my buddy did, and he was like, "You want to go see a movie tonight?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay." Yeah, it was one of the few times I actually had one of those screener things.
Yeah. And I was like, I really liked Kids in the Hall around the same time that I watched Blast from the Past.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really cool to see Dave Foley in there, and like Alicia Silverstone.
Nailed it.
Yeah, she was in. She was Batgirl, like right around that time.
Yeah.
And I really liked Brendan Fraser. It's a shame what happened to him.
She also in Freeway. Charlie Sheen. You ever see that?
No.
I think. Fuck. Wish I could look it up. Never. Yeah. Besides the point.
So now we're talking about Robert De Niro, who plays the monster, the Nameless.
Yeah, but he's gonna come into play a little bit later on.
Yeah. Like we're just naming the cast.
Oh yeah.
So Robert De Niro.
Don't forget Aidan Quinn.
And John Cleese plays a little bit role.
Yeah.
But
blinking you miss him.
Who's the main character in it?
Kenneth Branagh.
So he actually directed this as well.
Yeah.
And right off the top, and he goes on to do Hamlet.
Holy shit! I didn't know we were gonna speak so highly of it.
No, but I didn't know this guy was to be spoken of so highly either.
Oh yeah,
because he was nominated at the Academy Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay for Hamlet, and then was nominated for Best Actor and Best Director for Henry V.
Jeez.
And I think
gotta be doing two things on everything.
Watching this, I saw it right away. This was heavily inspired by stage play. Like I found all the locations were super stagey, very theatrical in the stage. Like that big spiral staircase that goes up the wall, just seems so stagey, almost like you see it at Neptune. When, like a Romeo and Juliet, when she's on the balcony and they have the little balcony built in the corner. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure they're dancing around to Piggies by the Beatles. When it shows young Frankie.
Young Frankie.
Victor.
Yeah.
They call him Little Victor. At this moment, and he's dancing with his sister, I believe,
Helena.
But this is when they're kids, because remember his mother. Because it has a little intro of him as a kid.
So you're right. Let's just bring it back a little bit. So De Niro, AAA actor that you knew from whenever. He's like the biggest guy in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's coming off of Bronx Tale and preceding Casino.
Yeah, but what you know about this movie is that it's got the biggest, bestest actor out there in the world playing Frankenstein. So if anyone's gonna live,
the monster.
Of course, you gotta make that mistake just to clarify that. Yeah. But of course, the creature.
They never gave me a name.
Yeah, so you're sitting there waiting around. It's Sunday afternoon. You finally get to watch it. And, it's the first week and it's out on video.
Yeah.
And, man, I thought it was a snoozer back then. So I'm super excited to cover it here today.
Yeah.
you could see some big set pieces, of course, in it. We had like a 27-inch CRT, I guess, television with, covered in wood.
Huge back then.
Yeah, so being able to watch it with fresh eyes and some maturity, hopefully, to finally watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So the first thing that you see in it is this 3D intro that goes into a scroll.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that?
Yes. The whole on the ship. On the ship part. It's so funny that I actually blanked this out from my memory.
The Arctic Sea.
I blanked this out from my memory for the longest time. Like, when me and you watched it, I was like, what the hell is going on? This is the wrong movie, or I got burned or something like that.
Yeah, but out in the Arctic Sea, ships on.
But I just blanked it out again. We watched it today.
It's hilarious. The ship is out there, super rocky.
Yeah.
And then, I'm surprised you don't remember this, the most iconic line from Titanic. Iceberg. Right ahead.
Iceberg ahead.
And then they're crashing and stuff like that. And I was like, what did this have to do with Frankenstein?
Yeah.
But of course, there's always that, I guess, perfect storm kind of energy at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which I guess is pretty close to the book, actually. I think it has that in it.
And we were really keeping our eye open for De Niro, because there was the guy that went under on the boat, and we were like, is that him? Are they going to bring his body home and then end up using him or something like that?
Yeah, you're already looking for corpses to nominate.
Eyes wide shut complex, where you're like, that's him, that's the body, There's the arm. That guy's got good arms. This girl's got good legs.
Yeah, exactly. And then that captain guy is getting an earful. He's got this, as many men as needed are going to be lost in order to make progress on whatever kind of journey there.
Yeah.
And they're sending dogs out to get killed. A lot of movies are out there patting those dogs in those first couple minutes, trying to endear you to these people. They're sending them out to who knows.
Yeah.
But, what was it? Kenny Branagh shows up.
Yeah.
He's behind the camera up until this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Victor Frankenstein
is getting in there.
But yeah, then it cuts to what I don't know who. I thought it was his wife dying during childbirth.
No, it was his mom.
With a topless Bilbo Baggins.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't save her.
Which is his dad?
Stepdad. There was something implied. I think it was his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And just the way he delivered a line. He delivered a line, and it told me that he wasn't his father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was telltale signs.
He was like kind of like your mother or something. Wasn't saying that my son or anything like that. You know what I mean?
The same age as his mom.
Yeah. And then he's dancing with Helena's character as a kid, but they're talking about each other as mother and brother and sister. And then, so she has Willie.
Yeah.
In her.
Which I thought was his son for a while.
Yeah.
But it's his brother.
Seemed very convoluted.
Yeah. His son-aged brother.
But we might as well just get this hot topic out of the way, because I was going to bring this up later, is that, as a viewer, you're watching this and you're like, oh, that's kind of strange. Mm-hmm. And then you forget about it. And then when him and Helena go to get married, they say something like, no longer brother and sister, now husband and wife.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on? Like, I know it was like that back in the day, but is this something that they actually added to it?
Yeah,
is this something, because this being Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, they probably try to stay as true to the novel as they could. So then, it got really confusing with the son too, and it's like, is that what happens when you marry your sister? You get a son brother. But it ends up just being his little brother that he took over.
Yeah. So that was super, not convoluted, but straightforwardly strange.
Yeah.
Family.
But who needs labels?
Yeah. Your cousin's now my lover.
Yeah. They're just making it complicated.
But the whole scene, I guess, meant to give them a spark in the interest of trying to preserve life.
A spark. Yeah, exactly. That's true. Already having grievances. Really, from a young age, he's wishing that he could have done something to bring his mother back to life.
Or whoever she was.
Sparked the curiosity. That's a great note.
Yeah, and then jumps right into a kite flying scene.
Yeah, hoping to get electrocuted like numbnuts there.
That's so numbnuts. Is that him that gets struck by lightning? And then they're all touching each other with electric fingers.
Yeah, I know. That was cutting edge technology for the 90s. Being able to put that together.
Yeah, feel the power. That's what it was all about in the 90s. So back to that dancing that you had mentioned, which they actually refer to as fun, if you want to be technical.
But I got stuff about dancing, guy. Let's go.
Yeah, so there's a whole lot of back and forth with his cousin, sister, wife to be.
Yeah.
Do I propose now? And then decides he's got to go.
There's a lot of that in this. It's kind of an ongoing thing that he's choosing his work over his love.
Yeah.
And they were dancing through the hallways.
Yeah.
And this scene,
that's one of the biggest parts of doing fun.
And there was actually a lot of movement in the shots I found, which isn't typically, it wouldn't typically give you that theatrical feel.
Interestingly enough,
the camera was dancing with them. I even think that might have been a long shot. There was a lot of long shots in this.
He's got to put a stop to the fun, and he heads to Ingolstadt, where he's just a young, I guess, student getting lodging.
Yeah, and right away they established the town bully. The university bullies just pushing through people.
Yeah. Well, that's where he meets his Millhouse.
Yeah.
He doesn't really get an Igor.
Yeah.
But the bully says, what? Do you remember? Watch where I'm going. So Nelson...
That was the term back in the day.
Yeah. Gets biffed out by that guy, Henry, his wimpy Millhouse of a friend.
Yeah.
Has kind of limited quotability, but that was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
But there's a few other ones,
as
you might expect. He hooks up with Henry here, gets a skinny on a rogue doctor.
Yeah.
That's... doing stuff that he'd be a little more into.
Yeah, played by John Cleese.
This is See, I told you blink and you miss this guy.
The professor. Because his brain comes into this later on.
Yeah. Human dissections going on.
Also, throwing the hero's journey on its head, because it's actually the mentor telling the student not to follow in his footsteps. Instead of, usually it would be the mentor helping him lead on his way, but there's the call for action, and then there's the second stage is where the main character usually doesn't want to continue with this, but he already has reasoning to want to try to bring a human back to life, and he finds out that this already has been done, or at least experimented with through this professor, and the professor's the one saying, do not do it. It did not work for me, and it will not work for you.
Yeah. He's at loggerheads.
Yeah.
It's a word I like to say that I heard somewhere.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come up too often, but...
it does not look like John Cleese.
Yeah.
Like they put a hell of a nose on him or something.
Yeah. The person who he's not...
She's a witch nose. I think they borrowed it from Monty Python.
Was he the
Holy Grail.
Was he the rogue one, or was... Because there was the other place with that awesome, like, spire of... it was balconies all around in a spire formation. And the professor was down in the middle, and everybody was on different floors above them.
I think it was the one professor.
But
because he kind of was a radical, but at the same time, he was the one telling them not to do.
But Henry hips him to this other rogue guy after they start hanging out, saying this guy's more your speed. With the stuff you're trying to do.
Really?
With his new science. So, yeah, they figure out that, like, they're on the verge of a breakthrough, and they find out electricity is definitely what's going to unlock that. And you're right, you get that monkey paw demo.
Yeah. I thought it was like the Wolfman's arm or something like that. I was really sunk into this dark universe.
Yeah. And the whole time going back and forth.
Had some serious strength to it.
And wishes. Usually monkey arms give you wishes. Maybe he wished for zombies. And the whole time it's going back and forth here with Helena, Liz, yada yada.
One sec. Okay. I gotta add this part, and then you bring up that statement.
Yeah. Because
I remember the professor actually said that, you're gonna make an abomination to him if you proceed with what you want to go through with.
Yeah.
And it instantly made me think of MCU, or just the Marvel character, the not so jolly green giant there, Hulk.
Yeah.
And one of his biggest villains is Abomination. And it kind of is like a more scientific way about Frankenstein, except that he turned himself into the monster rather than creating someone else.
And then finally, after learning this guy's whole life story...
Dead.
De Niro. Close.
No, but how does the professor go?
What? He was mad. More letters. Be back and forth with Liz.
Letters. So many letters.
Enter De Niro to save this thing.
Oh, I'm so happy right now.
In a timely sort of scene. Today's timely. He's out there. He's plaguing out. And
he's in the line.
He's refusing the jab.
Yeah, he's an anti-jabber. Which is, it's so funny to watch this after COVID and think about, like, back then with the plague and stuff, they didn't have any Pfizer. Like, who knows what the hell they were jabbing them with back then. So I'd probably be an anti-vaxxer if I was in the 1700s or whatever this is.
Well, you'd probably get hanged for it.
Yeah.
A lot like our friend De Niro here.
But he didn't get hanged just for that.
No.
I just am remembering this now, that he had a blade and he stabbed the doctor, or the professor. And that's how the professor died.
No way.
That's why he gets hanged. And It's so funny that you still call someone being hanged and it's not hung.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think the terminology is still hanged and not hung is because it's like such an old school approach to murder that they didn't want to kind of update it?
Yeah, they don't need to revisit the name.
Yeah.
They just got to pretend like it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really like keep it as an old school thing. Like we did a project. I forget who my partner was. I think it was me and Tyler. Did a project with Lemonation back in film about the hangings in Halifax and all the different places that they would do, like McNabb's Island, and then at one point they'd be hanging people on the willow trees going up
Roby?
to Quinpool. What is it, Summer Street or something? It's right around the Commons. There's those willow trees on both sides that they'd be hanging people out into the public.
Mm-hmm.
And the last place that there was a hanging in Halifax was actually right outside the courthouse, or right behind the courthouse.
Mm-hmm. And when it happened to De Niro, he's just there yelling to the spectators that they're evil, and that's it for him.
Yeah.
Until a few hours later, under cover of darkness, still hanging out there, conveniently.
Yeah.
So
Victor.
Yeah, he can scoop the guy up, right? The benevolent extender of life, Victor.
Yeah, gets first blood.
Yeah. He's yeah. Getting first blood, tiffing hard with his boo.
Yeah.
Liz, some more upset letters, yada yada.
Oh my God! Another letter from this broad.
Right, and then
My
another
sister wife.
Another eureka moment, just like the good doctor's death. Amniotic fluid.
Say what?
That's the key. That's the last missing component.
Oh yeah.
To get yourself a monster or creature together. But now Liz is showing up. No more letters. But that's when they're having this work's more important. Deal with this later.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I can't handle this right now.
And a really interesting part of the film is that the brain that he uses for the monster, the nameless creature, is actually the good doctors.
Oh my God.
Professors.
This whole doctor's arc.
Yes. So the brain, and I think that with the development of film, they couldn't have Frankenstein or the monster walking around like in the 30s, right? So they had to make this character a little bit more sophisticated. So they used the brain of the professor that would make Frankenstein, or the monster at least, be catching on to things very quickly.
That's interesting, because I was wondering where he got his brains, but there's something...
Because at the end of it, he can have full-out conversations.
Yeah, but before when he gets the brains, is that the last thing that he had to grab before... Because he had to figure out the amniotic fluid, and then, he's got rid of his girlfriend, and he's free to go create a monster.
It was almost like a very overdone set with the big, I don't even know what you would call it, but the structures, like very early age industrial.
Yeah.
It was, but it's like very interesting to see like what that might look like at those times. Because, I don't even know if Edison got zapped yet.
So once the creature comes to life, you get the iconic ending to the first Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Very Jason.
The exact shot of him lurching out of the water monstrositously.
I'm thinking they called up Tom Savini and said, "You got that suit?"
Yeah. Send it down to...
Return to sender. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the like slippery. It's almost like Neo, fresh out in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's that ambiotic like fluid. That's a necessary evil.
Yeah, he's like the boneless lady. You ever played that game?
Like a video game that's hard to control.
Me and Jacob used to get super baked and play this game where it was just like this person that's falling down and hitting a bunch of stuff, and you can swing them around and stuff like that.
Ragdoll.
Yeah. But so he's like trying to pick him up, but he's slipping on him and then slipping on the ground. I know, he's rolling over each other and stuff like that. He's
pulling muscles. You know it. He's going to feel that the next day.
He knocks him in the head and then hangs him again.
Yeah. Second hanging of the day for this guy.
Yeah. And then there's full frontal. And, he definitely was in the pool at this point.
Yeah, there's shrinkage.
Significant shrinkage.
Oh, no.
He was in the pool.
Yeah, so... And then we got a full frantic orchestra as this guy's out, brewing them up. And... You're treated to some of those classic lines. Live!
Oh, yeah.
Followed by a lot of no.
Well, of course, there's the classic soundbite, It's Alive, which was used on YTV for years and years.
Yeah, it gets used twice in a row, actually.
Yeah.
After the porthole.
Yeah.
The glass on the window.
Yeah. Classic.
Well, the glass on the window, the hand on the window.
Yeah.
A porthole kind of window in a strange basin.
Electric eels, too. Electric eels are a big part of it.
Oh, yeah. And then right away, things go pear-shaped.
Didn't we skip over the killer Frankenstein? How could we miss little Frankenstein? His test puppet, remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
That he's like in a little petri dish, and it's like, it didn't work, and then he walks away, and then it moves, and then the glass breaks. Like, oh my god! I thought the ending
that's because of the super strength
was going to be a bunch of killer frogs coming out.
Because if he reads the fine print after Frankenstein's monster. Breaks loose there, and he notices something's off about him, right? Because he's kicking the shit out of him, and it's a real slippery, hairy fight.
Victor's shirtless at this time.
Oh, well, that went without saying.
Robert De Niro's pantless at this time, and
oh yeah,
he was in the pool.
You don't go to the party and not go into the pool.
There's significant shrinkage. But do you think that Robert De Niro had a butt double?
Who doesn't? Any big star, it could be your career if you didn't.
You don't think Robert...
This is mid-90s.
His butt's too ugly to show off?
You know what? He probably had the dedication to methodically work on it.
Yeah. You know what? Next movie, I'm showing my ass.
Yeah.
Casino, I'm showing my ass. But
Sharon, you hear that? You're going to be looking at this ass.
And there's really interesting uses of wearing red throughout this. Like sometimes Victor will be wearing like a really red blazer, or
like blood.
Liz will be wearing a red dress, and then later on Will has a red coat. And it's really like, this is very, they try to make it like gritty old Europe, so it's all the gray and dirty, but it makes these red wardrobe pieces like really stand out.
That's interesting. I didn't have anything, I don't think. Well, I did have one thing on red later on.
Yeah.
But I didn't really pick up on it that much early on, but it's good to be noticing that sort of crap about it.
And Liz runs down a 1700s one-way.
She runs in the traffic as they're kind of breaking.
She's running one way in every... This is all of Britain is walking north. She's trying to get south.
Yeah. And Frankenstein is showing some of his brain. I forgot it was the doctor, but I was wondering how he was had the the know well to. He had a pretty good head on his shoulders, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
When he was sleeping homeless, he was bundled up. There was a shaved chest.
Okay, keep going.
It was him, hanging out on his own, starting his journey.
Yeah.
And they were establishing that he did have a brain. And much like your
he was
First
on the
Blood
film.
note,
yeah.
I have a shaved chest in here. Like Jerry? But that's useless because that's more like a werewolf reference. Vic is being nursed back to health by his man friend, Henry. And now that Henry is getting good, he might pass anatomy. He's like, reads the fine print, realizes there's this issue where they have extra super strength.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh shit, I gotta destroy everything. Didn't realize this shit. So he's like, no, because the monster made his way out, no problem.
Yeah.
So, he's got to get his act, get to the next act.
Yeah.
And he's getting spotted already, and an angry mobs are already forming at the sight of him.
It reminds me a lot of Spawn, too, just like how he's dressed and how he's like walking around the city and everyone's like pushing into him and he's like weak but strong at the same time. He's like,
he's got a face only hell could love.
I need to find a bridge to sleep under. Like, get away from me, dog, and stuff like that.
Yeah. But he's sleeping homeless. He's bundled up, like you said. He's got a shaved chest like Jerry.
Like Jerry.
But the problem is he gets spotted right away. An angry mob forms.
Yeah.
Soon after.
Away. He definitely doesn't have. He has superhuman strength. He definitely didn't have superhuman speed.
He's muttering though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's already kind of developing.
Yeah. So he's
at a rapid pace, walking around like he did in The Irishman.
Luckily, he's got that super strength going on.
A couple people try to attack him.
It's called an angry mob.
Gives someone a wild throw. Like he throws a guy, and I think it's the cops or something. Just see this guy flying through the air, and they're like everything's normal.
Touching that.
He does a tuck.
Turn the other way, Lou.
Yeah. He actually jumps on a horse and buggy or something like that on the back of it and does it, or I forget how he does it, but he actually does a tuck and roll.
No, yeah.
And into the pond, and then he can swim.
Who can't?
This guy's been living for 5 minutes at this moment.
Man, Frosty the Snowball was.
I know people
Snowman.
I know people that still can't swim.
Yeah.
They're like 30 years of age.
But then he does this pearl clench. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's doing one of that. That might actually be in the picture on the movie. Is that?
Oh yeah, what are we doing? We actually have the movie here.
God dang. Why are we using this iconic guy then?
You're old news, pal.
Oh, I must have had the European cover.
Got the porthole.
The porthole.
Yeah. But yeah,
as he comes
this
along.
This guy was giving me really Hunchback of Notre.
There's a picture of the titles, or the main titles of the DVD.
Yeah. Just so you know.
If you got a magnifying glass, you can see that there's a thing that says special features. Wait, there was no special features.
No, there's no special features.
Shit all on this thing.
Hunchback of Notre Dame vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Just how he was going through the city and everyone was looking at him. But then also under the bridge, kind of like Christopher Lloyd and Dennis the Menace. You know what I mean?
Down and out.
I was almost getting all this nostalgia as I was watching the nameless creature go about his business. And I'm pretty sure that's a line that That line must have been in there somewhere. So there's no way I'm poetic enough to come up with this. But in my notes it says, "Evil stitched to evil, stitched to evil." I think it's profound.
16-year-old wrote that.
Yeah,
took that directly from
Mary Shelley herself.
Old Vic is getting nursed back to health by his tireless man friend, confidant, and servant nurse Henry Milhouse, who's getting good now at anatomy. Helena's around. She's really getting the full attention of the good doc now.
Yeah.
He's shutting down the whole place.
Yeah.
He's done with it all. On cue, they run into each other's arms. And brother and sister pretty free to go about their thing, right?
Yeah, and this was when I noticed that it was back to that, like, a lot of movement in the camera, like it was swinging around her as, like, the the reveal of Elizabeth coming back. Mm-hmm. And it kind of had that dance in the motion that you saw early on with them.
Mm-hmm. That's called fun.
Yeah, fun.
Well, you're going to confuse people if you don't refer to it as fun. Because that's what it is. It's the late 1700s. Is that
with a
PH? They make that clear early on in the narration, I think.
This is fun.
Yeah, they refer to it. Yeah, they do it a couple times with the fun.
Yeah, they took a soundbite from Shawshank.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the monster, listen to Casco music, hunkering down, eating with pigs.
And they're saying, thank God, when they're saying it was brought up that children are dying from the epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
So this was an active thing going on, like the plague. And I think even Willie might have got a little sick along the way.
I wonder if he was worried he might catch the bug out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like, it would have been funny if he was like a super clean freak, like he's wearing masks and he sees people sneezing and he won't go near them.
Yeah, just a horse's ball sack on his face.
Or no, anti-vaxxer, so he's the opposite. He's like licking people that are sneezing and stuff.
Doing things like eating out of a pig trough.
Yeah, exactly.
Squatting at these people's house.
Yeah, he might have the brain of a doctor, but he has the belly of a glutton.
Mm-hmm. But his kindness, once he hears about how if this field gets frozen or something, he harvests that family's whole thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
And they wake up like it's Christmas.
Yeah.
But it's not quite Christmas yet. First, he's got to encounter a blind flutist that lives on the premises.
Yeah. Bludist is what they call him.
Yeah. He hears friend or something. Friend.
Friend.
Yeah. He's learning what friends are while Vic and Liz, the power couple, brother and sister, gets a necklace proposal. And they're to be married as soon as this pesky little quarantine is lifted. Best man, Milhouse.
Yeah. Did he already sneak into the pig pen?
Yep, that's where he is, like just before Christmas there.
Yeah.
Where he's still squatting.
Yeah. I thought, honestly, he was going to, like, rip apart a pig and start eating on its flesh or something like that.
But he's not Tom Green.
Yeah. He just kind of... Yeah. Shout out to Tom Green. That's awesome.
We ain't there yet?
Yeah. I thought he was going to eat them. But he just told them to push over.
Yeah.
It was lucky that they were toddlers.
It's important.
Imagine if they were all breastfeeding.
Oh, yeah.
He would have got in on that, too.
Yeah, well, you got to establish dominance on that nipple region that you want to...
He'd be like Mowgli, getting raised by pigs.
Yeah. He can double fist. He can drink milk or water.
You start noticing all the very unnecessary stitching on Frankenstein.
Ah, well.
Seeing more and more of them. Like, why do they always got new hands?
Buffalo Bill hadn't perfected it yet.
Like, whose hands? It was like, this guy had nice hands. I got to use this guy's hands. Everyone, he was a hand model.
You got to be careful with them.
Yeah, he'd stand on a rock back in the day and just people would look at his hands.
You should get them insured. Sees a little girl getting roughed up by Captain Rent Collector.
Yeah.
He gets to chat with that guy after he gets kind of caught rustling in the walls. And he goes out and hangs out with him. He's talking about how, they're relating to each other.
Yeah.
Talking about shadows.
Yeah.
How they're better for him. People are afraid of him. Does that,
Yeah, let me feel your face. Yeah. Man hands. It's like, you got something. And Jerry's just like, so that's a good one.
Yeah, and much like man hands.
Valid? You like it?
Much like man hands, as nice as the monster might be, it's flat out rejection. And ends in a big ugly cry.
Yeah, because he has the line, I am ugly, they are beautiful.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like, Victor gave him a big heart. He's fixing the plants and stuff like that along the way. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy's already showing some... they're making you sympathize with him a little bit.
I wonder if he knows an easy way to get a heart out. Someone does. We'll find out later.
Will we ever?
And then he also encounters a beautiful, iconic red flower. So, what do you...
In his sleeve, and he puts it in his sleeve. And it goes with that same motif that I was talking about earlier.
He returns to give it to the family or the girl or something and finds that everybody's gone. He gets super pissed off about it. Yep. And
he says, I know what I am. I'm a monster. Lights. And he lights the place up.
Oh, yeah.
And I will plan my revenge.
Yeah.
And this whole montage, like, going off into the mountains and saying, like, you have to come to this place to Victor. It's, like, so Batman villainy. Like, the little cave that they have to meet in and stuff. It's like Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, the sea of ice.
Yeah. And he gets really, like, 90s villain at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Cuts back to Victor and Elizabeth and Will.
Yeah, they're having the wedding build up.
Yeah. Elizabeth is wearing red and so is Will.
Mm-hmm. And then the creature is playing flute.
Yeah, playing the old kazoo.
Yeah. And it's luring.
Didn't know it was the Franken call.
So they have to find Willie now. Seinfeld, search party for 4.
Caught right? Caught right.
Yeah, I don't know if that was more Seinfeld or Mitch Hedberg.
Frankenstein was playing the Willie flute?
Yeah, I think so.
Or the Willie call.
Yeah. And then Helena, who we haven't talked about in a while.
We're going to get to her.
She has a solo scene where she's out looking for Willie.
Yeah.
And finds him in that A-shaped thing.
Yeah.
And then there's...
Comes running out with her.
Mm-hmm. And then...
with him, sorry.
And then they apprehend that lady. And there's that crazy... hanging where the town turns into the lynch mob. And that's when the monster finally tracks down Daddy-O and says, the Sea of Ice, 3 p.m. Behind the elementary school.
Yeah, behind the ice bowl. Willie, the actor, actually never acted in anything after this, but became a sound editor.
Oh, nice.
He's been a sound editor ever since. I don't know, that probably seemed off-putting. Like a fat person on a diet. Off-putting.
Well, there's a lot of calories. Oh my god. The pudding singles.
Oh yeah. Fucking Seinfeld, man.
Well, I guess you won't be wanting this then.
Yeah. Yeah. So disgusting.
So yeah, they meet up in the mountains. I guess crossfade across.
Like, again, very theatrical setting. Doesn't even look realistic. It just has such a stage play characteristic, which obviously this guy was going for because he's in Hamlet and Henry V that he's acting and directing in.
It's all real fake until there's a flying attack followed by a cinematic ice sliding scene.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, he Frankenpounces.
Yeah.
Yeah, he Frankenpounces right on him.
Yeah.
Almost like Gary Oldman in True Romance. So I don't know how he did it, but he flew sideways at Christian Slater. Like, it's not like a jump. It's like they chucked him towards him.
You can never be surprised at what Gary Oldman can do.
He was on wires or something.
Yeah, but he gets taken to the ice layer. And, I mean...
We didn't talk about the second, or the female supporting role. That was kind of there the whole time, and it kind of seemed like her and Victor had a relationship or something. She was always in the mix of the relationship.
Yeah.
But then she got framed.
Yeah.
And she got hanged.
Yeah.
She got Franken-framed. So that's a big part of it, too.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Ah, did you?
Yeah.
God damn it. I'll edit yours out and use mine.
Yeah, she was, when they were doing the search party for Willie, she got arrested right after that.
Yeah, because she was in the barn. And Frankenstein was Franken-diddling her while she was sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And she got framed for it. Franken-framed.
Yeah. And you realize at that point that maybe he's not this totally benevolent dude. He's out there killing folks.
It's been done in so many movies. They make you sympathize for someone. Yeah, I sympathized with Kai until he started killing people.
You don't fuck with hitchhikers.
Or cats.
Yeah.
I can't even remember if that was in this episode or the intro for Victoria.
That was in the intro for Victoria.
Yeah.
So
Sweet. So yeah, the brother's son is no longer. He's with his sister wife. She's got like serious Elaine hair at this point. Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Like most people have Elaine hair in this movie, actually.
Mm-hmm,
but she's got real,
strikingly.
Yeah. Season 1 Elaine hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they want to get their Frankenfuck on. Everything seemed peachy dory. I think at this point, Oh, okay. So what Frankenstein wants from him is a wife. He wants a companion. And he says, if you don't get me a companion, I'll see
friend.
Yeah. If you don't give me a wife, I'll take yours.
I'll be peaceful after that.
Yeah.
So he's saying, I speak, I read, I think, and I know the ways of man. And he's so specific in saying what he wants in a mate.
Yeah.
Saying, like, it's got to be a girl, like, he wants to know what he's comprised of as well. So I guess, this isn't just being shallow. But he wants a friend, a companion that's female. And but if he doesn't get it, that's when he's going to be mad. And so he decides one more month, and he tells Liz, after this, it's all going to be done. It's fine. Then we'll get married.
Yeah.
She gets totally pissed off. She's off tossing all his clothes away.
Classic.
Getting nuts about it.
They've been doing that since the 1700s.
So he's got to come clean. He's got to come at her and confess all this stuff. And she's like, takes it fine. She's like, oh, go ahead. Just tell me what's up and we'll be cool.
Yeah.
Then we go on happily ever after. Yeah, so marriage, wedding, right? They go off on their honeymoon. They're well guarded. Yeah. But
he's there.
Oh, yeah. Brother and sister, no longer.
That's when the line is, yeah. We are no longer brother and sister. We are man and wife.
Hold on. Deliver with a little bit more.
No, I don't want to.
Give it a little oomph, would you? So there's a love scene in there. Classic 90s love scene.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't remember how graphic it is. Probably nothing too crazy. Then there's some flute cock blocking.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. The flute is nonstop. Probably like a bad thing to play for these guys.
Yeah. And
last thing they saw their dead son with was a flute, and these guys are just playing them all willy-nilly around the place.
Yeah.
On their honeymoon.
The old switcheroo there.
The nameless creature shows up, and, they're watching below, and he comes from above. And not only, chokes her out or anything like that, they went all out with this scene. He rips her heart out and shows it to Victor as it takes its last couple beats.
Yeah, right after they get married.
Yeah. So, right away, he's like, well, I'm doing this. I have to rebuild my wife. And it's kind of bringing up the same feelings that he had at the start, losing his mom, I'm sure. So then, this Lizzie has a huge hole in her chest from where her heart was ripped out of her body. So it's like, what are you going to do? Oh, that girl that was hanging out, she had a nice body. I'll use hers. But then, again, I don't know if it's overdoing it on the stitching, but
Corpse Bride.
Maybe he really liked Lizzie's hands, so she had the stitches here. So they used hands that weren't on the one that was Hang's body, which is funny. The actual thought of being like this girl's hands. This girl got nice feet.
So now, whatever. I guess the father's dead. There's nothing to lose. Is this all his last moment? In this thing?
We lost total track of Bilbo. Bilbo's gone.
Yeah. But whatever. Can't deal with the times of the essence, as they say.
Yeah.
But another great success. A little more fun. with this beautiful lady.
You're referring to the enhancements that Victor gave his wife
Yeah.
through the process, body modifications.
Yeah.
And
But he had some competition out there.
It was a botched job, we must say. It is a botched job.
Yeah.
Her eyes missing. Could have sewed a weave on her. Yeah, she's missing a lot of hair. It's funny because I remember her hair being like a little more like Bride of Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that this was going to be the part that you didn't remember out of this movie. And it's one of the parts that I
remember the most.
Really remember the most, except I thought she had more hair. But remember her as the Bride of Frankenstein, which actually was part of Mary Shelley's first Frankenstein novel, I'm pretty sure.
I think...
And because of cinema, they split it into two in the 30s.
Yeah, but I think in the original Frankenstein, I don't know if in the book, I think he might decide he's not going to make her.
Oh. That would have made for a shitty movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not doing it.
Yeah, it just ends there.
Yeah. No, but, yeah. So she comes out. I'm not out of pocket, am I? We're on the right track.
No, she's alive and well.
Yeah. And they actually play the old, stand beside each other and who she walked to.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, this dog will come to its rightful owner.
Frankenstein's really spitting some game to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, he's saying all the right stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then
she's thinking, live forever with Kenny over here? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. But then
guy.
Something that he says or she says that he's like, she remembers me. She's mine. She remembers me.
Yeah.
But as he's saying that, she catches her reflection.
Yeah. Doesn't really like what she sees.
No.
And this is one of the more...
action-packed.
Well, Helena Bonham there plays a lot of these types of characters.
You're getting into it right now?
Well, I'm just saying this isn't that out of character. Maybe this is one of the earlier ones, but this is the stuff she loves.
Yeah, exactly. It's what she's known for.
Yeah. It's like she's finally revealing her full self.
Yeah. Because, I'm a huge...
She goes full Marla.
I'm a huge fan of hers. Like Marla, Big Fish. I really liked her in Sweeney Todd.
You know what about Big Fish?
Yeah.
The place where they filmed the town in Alabama is like an abandoned place that you can go to now. And the tree made out of styrofoam that he sees when he goes into the town is still there and intact. But later in the movie, it's more decrepit and it's kind of in that state now. Yeah. But there's still this house where, like the mayor's house, I think, and the church, but it's all facades because it wasn't actually filmed, or except for the mayor's house has stuff and the church has some stuff, but some of the houses are just facades.
Yeah, exactly. But I've always loved
$3 to get in if you're in that place in Alabama.
We're going.
I knew we were going to go there one day.
We're hitting the budget.
Yeah.
She, Fight Club, Sweeney Todd. I've always liked her. Kind of that dark.
She's kind of unobtainable. Yeah, you can't see her as a girlfriend type.
Even Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. Perfect candidate for Tim Burton's ex-wife.
Mm-hmm. But as an everyday Joe, you don't feel like you could really date her. It's like dating Wednesday.
I was just gonna say that, she's got like the same thing as like Christina Ricci going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which I'm into. But Mia Goth seems to be like this generation's version of a Christina Ricci or a Helena Bonham Carter to be able to work with those darker roles and not get stereotyped as them, or when you
typecast.
Yeah.
You don't want them to get typecast in these roles.
Not that they get typecast in these roles, but I think it's I think certain actors and actresses lean into a certain type of role. Look at Juliette Lewis.
Yeah, you say Audrey, I say Aubrey.
Yeah. We were already talking about Jennifer Coolidge. Seems to play like very similar roles in a lot of things, and it's not maybe they get typecast or maybe they just like to lean into that kind of role. And I'm sure Helena Bonham Carter is probably the best example of someone that definitely wants to lean into those roles. Planet of the Apes.
She was in it?
Yeah.
I can't remember her being in it. I did watch it once upon a time.
Sexy ape.
Oh, right. Newer ones?
Yeah. I don't know if it was the one with Mark Wahlberg, but it was like the first of the newer Planet of the Apes.
All right.
Like it had Michael Clark Duncan as like security ape.
Oh, that's got to be the Mark Wahlberg ones.
Yeah, exactly.
So now that
the end.
So that might as well have been her eulogy, because the next thing she does after she looks in the mirror and isn't pleasantly surprised. There's a Seinfeld reference there.
Mirrors again.
That the guy with the face.
Tone. The Mimbo?
Yeah. She has she has a Mimbo moment.
Did they say anything about reconstructive surgery? Yeah. That's a good one. That's one of the best. Tony, I made peanut butter sandwiches because I know you don't like tuna.
Yeah. Well, she saw tuna and...
No, he hates peanut butter, yeah.
Oh. Well, she saw peanut butter.
Does he like peanut butter? He hates it. Glad I asked.
Well, peanut buttered or salmon... I'm not sure salmon in a shit sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, don't want to put shit in that sardine sandwich of yours, but...
But she turns herself into a lantern.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where the movie gets overly 90s. Like, I'm sure this was a bit from, like, a Blu-ray commercial. Where it's showing, like, so many movies in the 90s had this fire that turns into an explosion that is, like, people, like, all right, 1, 2, 3. Ah! You know what I mean? And it was so like that. It was hilarious to see a movie that actually had like somewhat of depth with all this.
The stunt was done by the books, though.
You thought it would be like done a bit more poetic. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A little bit more symbolism behind how they actually like. You know how. Like Romeo and Juliet ends.
Yeah.
You think that there'd be something like that. And I don't know, like, I really wonder if that is in Mary Shelley's original novel, this explosion, or is that, like, 90s
No,
effects?
that was before explosions. She couldn't even imagine what an explosion was in the year this was written. Ah.
And they just started fire.
Funeral pyre. Did they jump out into the water, end up on a raft, something?
Yeah, they go down.
Daddy and
Don't they both go
son,
down in the ship?
Daddy and son get to go down in their...
Oh, a little piece of ice.
Yeah.
But Victor dies. and Frankenstein lives because he's already the undead. And then he ends it with the most quotable line of the whole movie. He didn't give me a name.
But the credits did.
What was it? The creature.
Slash.
Really?
It's clear as day. He's the sharp-featured man.
The sharp-featured man. Yeah, that was hilarious to read that. I forgot about that. Like, what they called him before.
Yeah, it's hilarious as Fred fucks to wet
You
your
didn't
palate.
think he'd be like anti-vaxxer number 7. Or, hanged man. The sharp-faced man.
Yeah. He doesn't want sharps touching his body, though. Just his features.
Yeah, he's rounded. He's rounded from the neck down. Mm-hmm. Sharp features up top, though. Yeah. Cut like a bag of milk, but sculpted in the cheekbone area. Mm-hmm. This is post Raging Bull.
Yeah. Thank you, Francis Ford Coppola.
Another one.
Of Godfather fame. Thanks, Frank Darabont of Shawshank fame, for helping put this majestic piece of work together somehow.
No, seriously, like, this is a great piece. I'm really glad that we threw this in the mix. Actually, before I forget, we got to give a shout out to Ali, who actually chose for us to watch this film.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that we're going to continue to do, is we won't be able to review every single movie that people throw in the comments, but we will pick the first comments of every Sunday and put them into the Wheel of Destiny and figure out a movie that we will watch in the following week.
Yeah.
Or month.
Well, I'm done with man.
Yeah, fuck this shit.
Gotta
turn the heat back on.
Right. Turn the heat back on, and
if you guys aren't sleeping already, have a good night.
Yeah. Much love.